On today's hot sheet, I'm discussing builder sentiment and the producer price index. Also, I have a monumental announcement regarding the future of this show, The Hot Sheet. Today is Friday, February 16th, 2024. I am Byron Lazine, and the hot sheet starts now. Good morning, and welcome to this monumental hot sheet. As we've always done, let me know in the live chat which market you are tuning in live from. I am here in my Connecticut studio today after spending the week in my Naples studio. So good to see so many of you. Good morning from Jersey. Good morning from Raleigh. Las Vegas in the house. We've got a whole bunch coming in. Thank you guys for being a part of this hot sheet each and every single day. I asked Bobby, I said, what number hot sheet is this today? It's going to be 263. We started the hot sheet in January. I think it was the second week of January last year. There's a lot of, as you know, we talk about it all the time on the hot sheet. There's a lot of headlines out there that can be misconstrued, and consumers often will see a housing headline and they will take that as gospel. They will believe that is the full story. Here on the hot sheet, we dive into the last 24 hours of what's going on in housing so that we can be more educated. This whole, the future of the agent is going to be the one that goes out there and does the practice, does the learning, gets the information when nobody's looking so that they can be the agent that raises the bar, takes the industry to the next level, serves their client at the highest level. That's why we do the hot sheet. A lot of bad information out there, and nobody's done this. Nobody's done a daily housing show live on the internet every single day, whether we're in whatever city. I mean, I know you guys that tune in every week realize it, but I'm on a plane every single week. It's only Florida to Connecticut or Connecticut to Florida. It's not like I'm traveling around the world or something. But when we're on the West Coast, when we're, at an event, wherever we've done the show, we've stayed committed to this show. And I said last year when we did the show, when we started the show, that we would give this a shot. We would see how it works. Is it going to work? I said, we're committed to it for a year. I remember a bunch of people said, hey, maybe just do a couple days a week, see how it goes. I said, no, let's do a daily housing show. Let's try it out for a whole year. Let's learn from it. Let's see if it's valuable. And some of the things that we learned was that our show notes were maybe even more or just as valuable than anything that we do at BAM. And now those show notes are uploaded each and every single day into BAMX. We started with the daily downloads. Those are still being uploaded now directly into BAMX. There's some days 14 slides that are uploaded each and every single day, just on a 24-hour look back on housing. There's 3 or 4 topics at times of show notes that many of you have told me you're using in your email and your database and all of that. That being said, the show is certainly a lot, and it's totally worth it. Totally love what we're doing here on the hot sheet. But there is a lot, and the travel and doing other pods, the Real Word podcast, doing Knowledge Brokers podcast, there's just a lot that goes into it. And I'm looking for ways to make this show better if we were to continue it. I don't want to stay in the same place. And the announcement I'm about to make it's hard to make because I've enjoyed saying this is the only housing show on the internet that goes live every single day, that gives you a 24-hour look back on the market so that we can be in position to have the most information. Remember, my favorite quote from Ivy Zellman is talking about that macro approach, bringing it back to the micro. I believe in that so much. And it's why this decision was hard, but I want all the content everything that we're doing and building at BAM to continue to grow, to continue to get better. We really believe in the mission that we're on at BAM. And so moving forward, this will be the last hot sheet that we ever do on a Friday. Okay, on a Friday. So we are going to go to 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday. We are just not going to do Fridays anymore. We're going to continue to do the hot sheet. We're going to make the hot sheet better. Not doing it on Friday is going to allow us to do things like booking in 5 or 10-minute guest segments within the hot sheet. Looking at different ways for even more preparation to make the show notes, the downloads, and everything that we do on the hot sheet even better. And so this is going to go from a Monday through Friday show when the markets are open. Obviously, Monday holidays, we always take our holidays fall on any day. We would take those off because the stock market's not open. But from this point forward, we're going to be Monday through Thursday when the stock market is open. And we're going to continue to do the show. We're going to continue to make it better. I urge you on Fridays to go and check out Knowledge Brokers podcast. It lives on a separate channel, the pod I do with Tom Toole and Lisa Chinati. Today, right after I get done with the hot sheet, I go right into recording that at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And we have Logan Mohtashami from Housing Wire on today. So this weekend, later on today, when it comes out at 2, that is a must listen. So Aaron says, what are we supposed to do on Fridays? Work? Yes, you're supposed to work every day. But if you're looking for that wrap up of the week, the things that we talk about here on the hot sheet, a little bit of a deeper dive and some of the scripting around some of that stuff, go and listen to Knowledge Brokers podcast. Make sure that you subscribe for that. Maybe Cooper, you can throw Knowledge Brokers is every Friday. We've done a year of the Knowledge Brokers. We've got a link down below. Subscribe to that when you get a chance. We have Logan Mohtashami on today. It's a fascinating day to do it because the 10-year went up over 4.3, and we are going to ask him a number of questions about that, about the 5% theory, all of it. So moving forward, this will be a Monday through Thursday show. We're looking to innovate on this show. We're looking to take this time and reinvest it back into the show to make it even better. And here's the other thing about Fridays. I've noticed we've done this for a year. So Fridays tend to be the lowest news day, the least amount of news. Most of the big news, just for whatever reason, I went back with Vanessa, our senior editor at BAM, and we're looking because we save. I'll show you right now. This is we save every single. If you go to 2023 shows, this is what we did in 2023. I'll scroll all the way to the top here of how many shows we've done with all the links. And we went through every single Friday on the show, on the hot sheet, links of every Friday. And we said, well, yeah, the Fridays do tend to be the least amount of big news. So some of that stuff can get rolled into the next week if it's not that significant. Now, what I will commit to everybody, like I committed when I started doing this show, when I said, hey, for a year, I'm going to test this out Monday through Friday. You've got my word. I'm going to do that. You've got my word that if there is a Friday, no matter where I am, could be on the road on an event, traveling between Connecticut, wherever I am, if there's breaking news on a Friday, this will be the channel you want to jump to immediately, because I will go live on an instant here on the BAM YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed for that reason. Make sure you hit the bell for that reason, because when I do see breaking news, I will bring it to you, whether it's a Friday or not. So this is the first time we're going to say we're not planning Friday shows, but there could be pop-up Friday shows. All right. And now, as we always do on the hot sheet, let's get into the last 24-hour look back on housing and break it down. Yes, I have a couple topics for you. There will be show notes today. There will be daily downloads, all available in BAMX. Use code HOT to get 10% obviously off of that. Okay, we've got some good news for you as well. And I hope that's good news because it's going to be better. It's going to be better for everybody. It's going to give you more time hopefully to go and check out Knowledge Brokers podcast, which I'm so passionate about that pod on Fridays. Okay. Okay. Uh, let's get into some good news here. Builder sentiment has now posted its third consecutive monthly gain. This is great news that builders are confident. Builders tend to have a feeling like they are almost a consumer, right? At times. And if builders are feeling confident, does that mean that somewhere here in the spring, we're going to see confidence with consumers continue to go up? Builder confidence in the market for newly built single family homes climbed 4 points to 48 in February. So we're not like setting records here or anything. This is according to National Association of Home Builders. They do this sentiment index every single month with Wells Fargo Housing Market Index. It was released just this morning. And this is the highest level since August of 2023. So builders coming into this spring market, let's frankly say it, they're probably looking at the inventory, and that's where most of their confidence is coming from. Here's a quote from NAHB chairman. Buyer traffic is improving. Even small declines in interest rates will produce disproportionate positive response among likely home purchasers. And while mortgage rates still remain too high for many prospective buyers, we anticipate that the due pent up demand, more buyers will enter the marketplace as mortgage rates continue to decline this year. Will rates continue to decline this year? Look at the 10-year today. We'll ask Logan about that on the Knowledge Brokers podcast later today. With future expectations of Fed rate cuts, which have come into question now, by the way, these Fed rate cuts are now being questioned. We've got some more economic data we're going to cover here in just a second. But with those expectations that were from the second half of the year, NAHB is forecasting that single family starts will rise about 5% this year because of those expectations. So remember, builders can pass down a lower interest rate to the consumer, but their projects get more expensive, right? So they can do that if their margin's big enough, but their project gets more expensive if they're financing the project, and many of them are financing it, obviously, to some degree when they're going and doing these builds, okay? Builders are reducing home prices less frequently right now to stimulate sales than they were in the fourth quarter when interest rates in October hit 8%. Additionally, the use of sales incentives is decreasing, indicating a shift in market dynamics. That's going to be market dependent. Your micro market. They may still be doing that. Improved buyer traffic is right now noted. We're also getting into the seasonality of improved buyer traffic, so that doesn't surprise me. I'd be concerned if traffic was going down right now. You'd certainly see sentiment going down if that was the case. Listen, a 48 on a scale of 100 isn't great, but it's something. It's gone up the last 3 months, and we'll take it. Looking at 3-month moving averages for regions, the Northeast increased 3 points to 57. Northeast happens to have the lowest inventory of all the regions. The Midwest gained 2 points to 36. So Midwest builders don't feel great, quite frankly. The South rose 5 points to 46, and the West is up 6 points to 38. So Northeast builders are the most confident. Makes sense. Least amount of building going on in that region. You put a new construction up, you're pretty much guaranteed to name and set your price. Okay, now for the disappointing news of the day. Here's the headline this morning from CNBC. This headline had a direct impact on the 10-year yield. January wholesale prices rise more than expected. Another sign of persistent inflation. This was just released today. I say there's not a lot of news on Fridays, and then we get NAHB builder sentiment, and we get this economic drop. So maybe today would have been a live one. Who knows? But January wholesale prices rise more than expected. So that's coming off of the heels of this hotter CPI data than we were expecting earlier in the week. When we saw that, let's just go to the 10-year, right? When we saw that earlier in the week, you know what? I'll go to CNBC's 10-year here. Stick with me here for a second. Let me go to CNBC's 10-year. I think it'll be easier for me to take a look at than the Wall Street Journal one. with you guys. Okay. All right. Let's not do a year. Let's do 5 days. Okay. So this spike right here on the 13th, think that would be right. The 13th. This is the spike that CPI came out on. So if you're watching, not listening to the replay right now, you can see my cursor moving on the spike on the 13th when the 10-year went from low 4.1s or 4.1 mid 4.1s, 4.1 and a half, and it just jumped up over that 4.25, that line that Logan Motoshami calls the Gandalf line. It's a concerning line. When we went up over 4.25 last year, we continued to elevate all the way to 5, and that's when interest rates on the 30-year fixed went all the way to 8%, as you remember. So CPI data came out hotter than expected. Boom, sharp increase. And then it kind of stuck there, moving down a little bit into yesterday, and then now today with this hot inflation data, we see another spike. This time up into the 4.3s. We actually hit 4.325, which was the high mark after the CPI data. So the 10-year is reacting. When the 10-year shoots up like this, investors are typically selling equity, selling stocks. Okay, I got to back off of the riskier bets, and they move into a safer investment like the 10-year. Okay, so here's what pushed it up. The producer price index for final demand increased 0.3% in January, seasonally adjusted. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that this morning. Final demand prices declined 0.1% in December 23 and advanced 0.1% in November. Okay, so this January number higher than both of those numbers. On an unadjusted index for final demand rose 0.9% for the 12 months, January 24. In January, the same advance on the index for final demand can be traced to a 0.6% rise in prices for final demand services. And the index for final demand, less food, energy, and trade services rose 0.6%. Okay. You can see here on the chart, 1 month percent changes, selected PPI, final demand prices index, seasonally adjusted percent change. You can see the increase coming off of where we were in October, November, and December. We had a nice decline there from August to October, and now we've been on an upward trend on PPI after today, obviously, a little bit of a more significant pop than was expected, a higher pop than what the market obviously wanted to see in their reaction to prices. This is wholesale prices. So just another indicator that inflation is stickier. It's a harder thing to beat. They said it's like trying to beat Patrick Mahomes in the fourth quarter and overtime. It's gonna be hard at the end of this deal to beat inflation. It's why I've been extremely cautious of getting on the train of 5% 30-year fixed in 2024, the year of the fives. I don't, I like a lot of people saying it. I'm rooting for it. I like that people have their position of why they're saying it. I just can't see it. And I couldn't see, getting that thought into a buyer's head right now, because I'm likely to set them up for disappointment. I say this to a lot of agents. What's more likely to happen right now with all the information that we have? Are interest rates more likely to be volatile, and we're going to see some sevens and high sixes? We're up over 7 now. Um, or are we more likely to see that cool down to 5% in the fives, which a lot of people are saying should happen? Is fives more likely, or are home prices going up in a starved inventory climate in this spring market? Are home prices going to be higher at the end of the spring market or lower? I mean, if I'm making a bet on fives or higher prices by the end of the spring market, my money is going on the higher home prices, which means buyers should be looking now so that they're not disappointed at the end of the spring. Hey, I'm waiting for these fives, and it's like it's only 6.75 or whatever the heck it's going to be, and home prices are higher. I could have bought something. There was all the good inventory in the spring. This deal on the 30-year fix continues to be sticky. 7.03 yesterday. It's going to be higher today with the 10-year. It's going to be back up in that 7.13 range that we saw on Tuesday on the CPI day. It could be higher. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. 6.77 on the 30-year fixed weekly. It's the highest Freddie Mac 30-year fixed weekly in quite some time. That 7.13 was the highest we've seen all year. So we're experiencing some of the highest rates we've seen all year. Myself and Lisa Schneider, we're going to talk to Logan Motoshami about that on Knowledge Brokers podcast. I think Tom Toole's going to be out, unfortunately, today, which he's texting me. He's basically crying because he wanted to talk to Logan so badly. But you're going to be able to hear from Logan. We're going to let him take up most of the airtime. Logan Motoshami, lead analyst from Housing Wire, will be with us at Knowledge Brokers podcast. We're going to release that at 2:00. I'm about to jump into that with them. And I'm going to ask him about this. I'm going to ask him about, what he thinks about, even mentioning fives this year. Is that even something that we should have on our radar at all? Okay, I'm going to ask him about the relationship right now with the 10-year and the 30-year. Okay, that spread started to improve, and then it started to worsen a little bit. We're going to ask him about that Gandalf line that we're now above, that he claims the 4.25. Anything above that on the 10-year is not good, okay, for the future of rates, and that's where we sit here below. So that's your hot sheet today. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this journey. Again, we're 260 plus episodes in of the hot sheet. We committed last January to do it every single day that the markets were open, Monday through Friday. And now we're going to do it every single Monday through Thursday that the markets are open. If there's something that needs to be done on a Friday, I will do pop-up hot sheets as necessary or breaking news lives as necessary. But we're going to go Monday through Thursday. We're committed to making the show even better, bringing in some 5-10 minute guests to comment on some markets or some experts in certain areas, providing more time to prepare and make the hot sheet show notes and daily downloads even better, to make the Knowledge Brokers podcast and the guests that we've been bringing on that since January 1 even better. That's on every single Friday at 2:00. And so far this year, we've had Lance Lambert from Resi Club. We've had Danielle Hale, chief economist at Realtor.com. And now we have the lead analyst from Housing Wire in Logan Motoshami. So that show, if you like the hot sheet, you'll love Knowledge Brokers podcast, which is out every single Friday. That is a different channel, so make sure you subscribe to that. Of course, to get the most out of everything we do at BAM, join BAMX. Thank you guys so much. I will see you on Monday, of course, on the hot sheet. I'll see you in the show notes. Is Monday a holiday? You're shaking your head at me, Cooper. President's Day? Well, I don't know if the market's open on President's Day. If the market's open, you'll see me on Monday. If the market's not open, then I guess you'll see me on Tuesday. You'll definitely see me in the comments, Knowledge Brokers, later on this afternoon. And until then, and for maybe the last time on Fridays, of course, toodaloo.